Again, good Yom Tov to everyone. I assume we all have photographs at home from our parents and grandparents and maybe even great-grandparents. What do they all have in common? Nobody is smiling, right? It must have been so depressing to live in a world that was black and white. That's all I could imagine. But when we look at our photos today, what do we notice? Everyone is smiling. Go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go on TikTok, which I'm still not sure what it is. Everyone is smiling because there's so much to be happy about in our country. An organization recently called me to give a talk and event because they wanted a funny rabbi to speak about the Holocaust. We live in the most powerful country in the world. We are free to vote and find jobs. We're free even to eat the least healthiest food on earth, Southern Jewish food. Nothing less healthy. Fried chicken, fried okra, fried shrimp, if you're a heathen, fried Twinkies, along with schmaltz, white fish, bagels, lox with schmear, and of course, just a pinch of Lipitor. I attended a workshop on demographics. And guess what? When it comes to world demographics, America is kicking tuchus. Let me tell you. We are on top of the world. We have one of the highest birth rates for a modern Western country. We have incredible variety of people here, whereas Russia doesn't have enough men for jobs or for war. China doesn't have enough women to repopulate its country. The birth rate in Western Europe remains one of the lowest on earth. And although American Jews didn't invent the bagel, we perfected it. It's an old one. We have a very high standard of living on average, even though we have very serious issues in our country as American Jews. We find hate, we find poverty, we find violence, but the truth is most other countries are much worse off than us. We should be living a relatively happy and stressless life compared to almost every other country in the world. Now, if that is true, then why did we land as number 23 on the list of the world's happiest countries, only 4 spots below Lithuania, where incidentally my great-grandparents fled over 100 years ago? So I guess the question is now, will Lithuania take me back, right? That's the question. Now, I can understand countries at war struggling to find happiness. Israel, a country at war for the past several years, actually plummeted big time on the list, all the way down from number 4 to number 5. Curse that Iceland and their new dreaded 4-day work week that they just instituted that knocked Israel from 4 to 5. Now, the good news is that even though there's no way I can change the 5-day work week to a 4-day work week for all of you, as the members of this synagogue, voting members of the synagogue, you can change that for me. Annual meeting will be first Sunday in February, right? How can we be so low on the happiness list? It is freezing in Finland, Denmark, Iceland, and Sweden, 1 through 4. I can understand Australia landing at number 10 because they have those amazing accents, right? But how did Slovenia and Costa Rica top us so easily? We out-medaled both countries at the last Olympics 126-3. According to Proverbs, happy are those who find wisdom, for her income is better than silver, and her revenue is better than gold. She is more precious than rubies. All of your goods cannot equal her. How do I get paid in happiness? As I've been stressed since the day I climbed out of my crib and crawled to my first appointment with my therapist. I searched for rabbi jobs, by the way, in cities around our country based solely on the ratings on Yelp for Jewish therapists. That's how I found Savannah. I am stressed all the time about money, politics, family, my job, but that has nothing to do with you. Well, most of you. My biggest worry is that I worry too much. I guess Jews are supposed to be stressed. We invented the greatest word for worry in the history of the world. Fetch, right? But why are we as American Jews stressed more than people in so many other places? I think we could all agree that it's because of politics, right? Because thank goodness Israel doesn't have any political issues at number 5, right? England, a country ahead of us, hosts the Prime Minister's questions in their Parliament's Commons chamber every Wednesday. That's a moment where the Prime Minister has to stand there as members of Parliament yell at him in front of a ticketed audience. That is true. European politics can be brutal, and plus they may just be a tinsy-binsy worried about a future war with Russia. Yes, expenses drive us crazy, but 8 of the 9 top countries on the world represent some of the most expensive places on earth. Watching the news here every day is like being a day trader. It is stressful. My dad was the king of warriors. It's in my DNA. He would lock his store and he would circle the block, check it again, circle the block, check it again, circle the block, check it again, drive home, halfway home, he would do what? Turn around and go check it again. I remember asking him if he was always so fastidious about locking his house when he was a child. He answered, when I was a kid, we didn't have locks on our doors. Yeah, amazing to live in a small town. Of course, they were robbed a lot, but that's a... All of our worries remain legitimate. People break into stores. Life is stressful for so many reasons, but other countries have the same worries, and many of them much worse. We can't necessarily change most of the issues that create stress, but as we observe the Day of Atonement together, we can look to the millennia of traditions in our faith to help us grapple with them. Right there in the 10 Commandments behind me up there, we read, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall work, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the eternal your God. You shall do no work. Before the world developed the weekend, before anybody even thought about taking a day off, God taught us to take a day off to relax with our families. Are we truly using Saturday as a day of rest? Or Sunday for those of us who rest on the wrong day? That was a joke. I truly now feel guilty about that one. I did that at a Methodist church, so it's okay. Believing in a day of rest given to us by God actually helps us deal with all the mashugana in our world. Dr. Edward Hoffman, the editor of the Journal of Humanistic Psychology, teaches us the essential nature of finding both a spiritual outlook and a sense of purpose. I quote, people who see life as having a larger purpose, as something with meaning, have an easier time dealing with stress than those who believe it is by random chance that we are here. They put, I quote, events into perspective, realizing there is more than just their own situation to think about. We are Jewish, and we were the first ones really to be taught we have a larger purpose in the world. So why do I fret over so many of my mistakes for so long? I still feel trepidation over an embarrassing moment with one of my favorite actors that happened over a year ago. After hearing him speak at a wonderful panel, I ran into him the next day, and I wanted to say, you did a great job at the panel yesterday. Instead, I nervously said, you did a great job, as we were exiting the bathroom. Still to this day, I can't believe I said that. Hoffman further teaches us that according to the Jewish Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, we all have a special task in this world, and the meaning of our lives is searching for that purpose. He adds, when one knows one's purpose, one can feel most fulfilled and will have the greatest strength to cope with difficulties. When one feels worried and depressed, that is usually a sign that one has moved away from one's purpose. Are we searching for our purpose in this world, or spending too much time on our phones reading about how miserable we should feel? Are we focusing on God's plan? Are we trying to center our thoughts on our most intimate connections? I want to spend quality time with my family, and sometimes I lose out. So this year, I'm taking my wife on a first-class flight to California, spending all I can on that ticket. We're flying on Southwest. Hoffman further comments that self-reflection goes hand in hand with purpose. Some of the great Hasidic masters said one should put aside 1 hour each day for introspection. He suggests we should take 1 hour ourselves to ask, where am I going in my life? What kind of person have I been? How have I been treating others? Have I forgotten my own needs? And if an hour is too much, take less. That's the whole goal of Yom Kippur and the Sabbath, isn't it? To take a day of introspection. Because we live busy lives from birth to death. Are we taking a moment to reflect? Stress remains inversely related to our capacity to reach out and go beyond ourselves. When we don't find community, we languish as well. As the Talmud states, when we share our concerns, our anxiety levels lower. And even the great King Solomon himself famously wrote, 2 are better than 1 when dealing with an issue. The way we treat others also reflects our connection to the world. One of my favorite biblical passages comes from Proverbs. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it. Yes, we read in the book of Esther about a man with apparently no anxiety at all. His name, King Ahasuerus. He decides to take off from ruling his country to throw a 6-month party. He then spends years organizing beauty pageants to find his next queen. Wouldn't it be nice to live a stress-free life? But on the other side of the coin, do we really want to compare ourselves to people who have little in the way of a conscience? Do we truly want to live lives where we care only for ourselves, feel no guilt when we hurt others, and exit this world without leaving a worthwhile, lasting impression? The price of a stress-free life is just too high. Are we laughing and acting silly enough? Hoffman teaches us these qualities are central to Jewish consciousness. Why do comedians like Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, George Burns, and Don Rickles live to their 90s and beyond? At 99, Mel Brooks is co-producing and starring in Spaceballs 2 at 99. And I can tell you, if it was only up to laughing and acting silly to relieve stress, I would be immortal. But there's more to it. Are we creating good and consistent habits to treat stress, like exercise and healthy eating, which is very hard as Southern Jews? Are we reading sacred texts for inspiration? In his landmark book, The 7 Questions You're Asked in Heaven, Dr. Ron Wolfson teaches us that we all live with a cheshbon hanefesh, an accounting of our soul. In modern Hebrew, cheshbon means bill, like the bill we pay at a restaurant. That's what it usually means. How do we take inventory of ourselves? What will our bill be when we meet God? Hoffman references the great Rava, who believes the first of the 7 questions that God will ask us in the next world is, drumroll please, were you honest in your business dealings? Wow. That makes absolutely no sense at all, right? But Wolfson further explains the question is about honesty. It's about integrity, faithfulness. If you are honest, he writes, if you are not honest in your business dealings, can you be trusted to be honest in your relationships? If you're not honest with others, can you be honest with yourself? If you're not faithful with others, can you have faith that God will trust you? The second question, did you set a fixed time for studying Torah? Are we learning? Are we trying to improve ourselves? Louis Finkelstein from the Jewish Theological Society teaches us prayer may be the way we talk to God, but study is the way God talks to us. Are we taking that time to study and become better human beings? Number 3, did we have, according to Rabbi Harold Schulreis, the immortality of influence? Did we impact the next generation? Are we setting good examples for our young people, for our children? Are we teaching them? Are we spreading love? Are we asking them to do better? 4, did we live our lives with hope in our hearts? Did the hope of God lead you to a time of goodness, health, and blessing? And my personal favorites, 5 and 6, the ones for which I have the most difficulty by far. Could we tell what was really important in life? Did we get our priorities straight? This past year, did I pay enough attention to my kids, my community, my duty? Did I become too stressed over the little things or the big things for which I have no concern or no control? Did I let it affect my family? Did I put my best efforts into what was most important? That is what I have a lot of difficulty with. There's so many things to do in this world. Am I paying attention to what I should pay attention to? Number 7, we'll discuss as soon as I finish reading the book. All of these questions help us realize that stress lives within us, but when we share our anxieties, when we search for purpose, and when we truly realize what matters most, our stress levels may lower. And that is one of the things I hope we can do this next coming year. So we know we all have fears, and they're legitimate. I wonder, for instance, how can I afford to send my 2 kids to Harvard? 5 and 7, I'm already worrying about this. Thank goodness, finally I found a solution to one thing in my life. I know how I'm going to pay for both of them to go to college. I've decided to homeschool them. Anxiety affects us more for some reason here in America, and I think especially as American Jews than anywhere else. We cannot change stress because we face very real issues. We can, though, seek help with therapists, with doctors, with friends, but beyond that, we can use our belief system to help us alleviate this stress. We face real issues, and some of them are terrifying, truly terrifying. I hope we as members of the Jewish community can learn to base our lives on the passage in Proverbs that states, if there is anxiety in a man's mind, let him quash and transform it into joy with encouragement. And if I'm ever going to find a mentor to help me overcome anxiety and find my place in the world, I need to look no farther than the happiest person on earth, my 6-year-old son, who is happy almost every moment of the day. I jokingly asked him the other day, Aryeh, do you love choo-choo trains, his favorite thing in the world? He answered, yes, I do. Then I asked him if he wanted to go to the train museum and see the choo-choo trains, and he answered, choo-choo betcha. May we remember how to look at the world like my son this upcoming year. Good Yom Tov.